Recording is on, okay? And
Yep.
now we'll share the screen and we'll go back to our now. So we'll start from scratch. Now. Now, are you all seeing the screen, yeah? The PowerPoint presentation. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all seeing it, that's okay. So we'll start us now. So thank you very much to John Moore and John Chardon for, first of all, agreeing to be my organising committee for the forthcoming exhibition. Basically, the exhibition, as you know, is about the role of technology in photography. And I'm going to pick one particular aspect in comparing smartphone technology to the DSLR photography. As I mentioned to you, there's a forthcoming exhibition coming up. The event will be open to the public and it will display various different works that asks them to consider how technology has changed traditional practices in photography. And the organisers have asked me to submit a work based on the two final images around a certain theme. As we know, technology has changed photography and photographic practices since photography started in the 1800s. And one of the major developments in recent times has been the development from film to digital photography. Hand in hand with the digital revolution has been the development of smartphone camera technology. And I'd like to compare the photographs from DSLR cameras to the photographs obtained from smartphones. The theme of my project is how COVID-19 has affected everyday life in my hometown of Kells, County Meath. And I've decided to use a photojournalistic approach to record the effects of COVID-19 on everyday life. So these are some of the images that inspired me during my research. The signage that we've all become used to going in and out of shops, temperature checking, COVID checks and all that sort of thing. Empty churches and people queuing for groceries outside of supermarkets, a thing that was completely unheard of 12 months ago. Some of my own images taken from around Kells, and I'll explain to you the messages that I'm trying to convey in these images. First of all, we have a fish and chip shop here. This image was taken at about 7 p.m. on a Friday evening. Normally, this shop would be full of people getting Friday night takeaways. Shop is practically empty, as you can see, and social distancing is being observed by the two customers that are in the shop. This is one of the more popular pubs in Kells, in my hometown, taken at 8 o'clock on a Friday evening. Again, normally there'd be quite a few people going in and out of that place at that time. Doors would usually be open and lights would be on the downstairs windows. Queuing for the groceries, our local supermarket. This image was taken on a Saturday morning. I think it was around 11 o'clock or 12 midday thereabouts. But people have adapted, and it just shows how people have adapted to queuing to enter the supermarket. And again, we can see the people keeping their social distances as they queue. Headford Golf Club, 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. The first tee on the championship course, which is a very popular course with visitors especially. Normally, there'll be people around this first tee here waiting their turn to play golf. And there'll be people practicing on the putting green to the right of the first tee as you look at the picture there. This is a picture that was taken Sunday Mass, the 11 o'clock Mass, which is probably the more popular Mass on a Sunday morning. I got special permission from the parish priest to get into the church to take this during lockdown. And here we see Father David celebrating to an almost empty church. The only people that are in the church are his two lay ministers who help him with the celebration of the Mass. And behind them, we have the church sacristan on the left-hand side. Normally, there'd be a fairly sizable congregation in attendance at this Mass. This is a queue of cars at a local takeaway, Supermax. Again, this was taken during lockdown when indoor dining was not permitted. So again, Friday evening, a big queue of cars queuing there for takeaways. This is a practice that we've all become used to, coming in and out of shops now, sanitizing our hands, wearing our face masks. We have these sanitizers usually at the front door of every public premises that we're going in and out of. And you can notice on the floor there, the signage asking people to keep their distance and to keep the 2 meters apart. In this photograph, I wanted to portray the normal of going in, sanitizing, keeping the hands clean, but I also wanted to convey some of the problems that businesses are experiencing during lockdown. As you can see in the photograph, the walkways of the food court are almost empty. Normally, these would be fairly busy in normal times when people can go in and sit down and have a meal. This is a picture of the entrance to a doctor's surgery with all the signage up. Again, you can't go in to see a doctor now without an appointment, can't even enter the premises, and the mandatory face mask as well. Some of the yellow signage that we've become used to, and the hand gels as we go in and out of shops. Most shops now have one-way systems and social distancing signs advising us to keep 2 meters apart from each other. So these are 2 photographs taken at the same time from the same place, one with the DSLR and the other with the smartphone, and I just wanted to show the differences between the 2. I won't go through everything here on the pros and cons, but basically the camera that I used for the DSLR was Canon 6D. Smartphone is a high-end Huawei P30 Pro. The advantages of the smartphone are that it's lightweight, very portable, whereas the DSLR can be a bit bulky for carrying around. I don't normally use smartphone for technology. In fact, I have very few photographs on my smartphone. I would normally use a camera or a DSLR for photography. Even if I'm out walking, taking shots around the golf course or something like that, I'd always have a camera with me rather than use the DSLR or the smartphone for some reason. My experience when doing this project was that I found the DSLR can be a little bit obtrusive for street photography. People tend to freeze when they see you coming with a larger camera, whereas the smartphone is much handier for that. But I do have more creative control and can control all the settings on the DSLR, whereas I'm a little bit limited, even though my smartphone can shoot in RAW and I have control over aperture and white balance and all that sort of thing. I just find it isn't as good as the DSLR. When shooting in RAW format, the DSLR captures all the details, especially in the shadows, whereas I found with the RAW on the smartphone, some of the detail can be lost in the shadows. In fact, I took another photograph of that Headford Golf Club one with a smartphone, and the trees off in the distance, you can't see any of the shadows in them at all. Just to go back to that one for you, so you know what I'm talking about. If you see the distance or the trees way off down there, a lot of the detail on those trees was lost on the smartphone photograph. Moving on again. So whilst I think the smartphone would be useful if you were a photojournalist and wanted to take a quick shot of a street scene of something that you came across, an accident or something like that, maybe smartphone is very handy to have. But for high-end photographs such as portraiture, advertising, fashion, or something that you're going to frame and hang on the wall, I think the DSLR would be the preferred format or the preferred camera of choice. Not to say that smartphones do have their uses, and especially in daytime, the image quality can be quite good from them. These are my final images that I was hoping to submit to the the exhibition. We have on the left the church and Father David saying Mass. The message in this photograph that I'm trying to portray is the sense of isolation that we're all feeling. A lot of people have said to me that they like to go to church on a Sunday for the sense of community that it gives them. And here we have 11 o'clock Mass on a Sunday morning, a very large church, and it empty apart from 3 other people and the priest. On the right hand side then, what I wanted to portray was the new normal of people sanitizing, going in and out of shops. And also I wanted to kind of portray the difficulties that businesses are going through, because normally this food court, when people are allowed to go in and sit down, would be packed with people. But when there's no seating around or no seating allowed for eating inside, you can see that the food court is quite empty. So in conclusion, technology has changed photography beyond all recognition since the first photographs. Even when we look at the quality of the first photographs compared to today's images, plus the fact of the big cameras that they used to have to carry around with them during the Crimean War and things like that, and their dark rooms and all that sort of thing used to come on the back of a stagecoach type vehicle. The development of smartphone technology means that almost everybody now has a camera in their pocket at all times and can take pictures of what they like. While smartphones are good for everyday photography, DSLR, I think, would still be the choice for the professional photography or the enthusiast who wants to hang their finished prints on the wall. So that's basically it. They're the references for the photographs that I used during my research. So over to you guys now for your opinions and your thoughts, please. Maybe John Moore first, please.
Yes, Mr. O'Doherty, look, thanks for inviting me to review your photographs, which I think are excellent. I think you really captured the difference between the two types of capturing photographs, and you did a very good job on that. And I would think that the two photographs that, as I view them now, certainly show the difference between the two technologies. I can see a lot more data and information in the photograph of the church, as against the, there's more depth in it, and seem to be a greater variety of colors than the photograph of the chap at the sanitation unit in the shopping centre. So I would think these photographs, Mr. Doherty, are suitable for exhibiting in at our premises, and we'd be glad to have them. So thanks for the effort in that, Mr. Doherty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moore. Appreciate your time and your thoughts, and thank you very much for that. Mr. Sheridan?
Yeah, I agree with John. I think it was an excellent presentation. You really got into the smartphone and the difference with the DSLR, and most of your points are well made, and I agree with them. I think your two final shots are excellent. I think they both tell a story, especially the empty church would resonate with probably the older generation in this country. It's something that really miss out on, and I suppose it's sad that that's what it came to, but it tells a great story on that. On the other side, that's the new normal, as you say, sanitizing your hand before you go into a shop, and there's stickers on the floor and there's stickers everywhere, and sometimes it's hard to know where you're meant to be standing or what direction you're meant to be going, but you're trying to follow all these things, and I think that tells the story as well. So I agree with John, two excellent images and really tell the story of what you're trying to convey. So thumbs up from me too.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, John. Thank you. So if we've nothing more then to say, I'll stop the screen sharing and just stop the recording for a moment. Okay.
Okay. So